Welcome to the Prepped and Polished podcast, the podcast that empowers you to take control of your education, featuring weekly interviews with influencers in the world of education, as well as tutoring tips, lessons, and updates. And now, here's your host, Alexis Avila.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Tutoring Tips episode of the Prepped and Polished podcast. It's Alexis Avila of Prepped and Polished. Make sure to check out our website, preppedandpolished.com, for more info. And while you're there, sign up for our free test prep newsletter. It comes out monthly. You can join us, our Prepped and Polished community on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Instagram, and find our podcast on SoundCloud or preppedandpolished.com/podcast. Just search for Prepped and Polished and you can find us. You can submit a question during the show or after to radio@preppedandpolished.com. We love hearing from you. Let's get right to episode 125, 3 middle school parenting tips. So middle school years are difficult. They're a difficult time for both child and the parent. It's really the first time in a child's life when his peers are his primary role models rather than his parents. But as a parent, you still want to have a strong connection with your child. So here are some of the tips I have for the parents of middle school children. One is get the inside scoop. And what that means, don't ask your middle school child, vague questions when he comes home, but ask detailed questions to get more information from him or her. So most likely your child will have a difficult time processing everything that goes on in his busy day. So ask your child detailed questions to get more information out of him. The second tip I have for you for your middle school child as a parent is make sure you make respect a priority in the household. So you don't want to be too soft on your child at home and just be his buddy. Your child needs structure. He needs a safe place to come home to where rules and expectations are clearly defined. And the buzzword really is safety. Your child, goes to school, sometimes school can be a little chaotic and he can be a little stressed out. So you want him to feel comfortable coming to home. Make sure it's a relaxed place, but make sure you set rules so he knows his boundaries. That's what I recommend. And the third tip I have for you is engage in thoughtful conversation with your middle schooler. And you do that by finding out her likes and dislikes, and then focus conversations and activities around her likes. So if she's really into animals, fish and sea animals, take her to the aquarium, go on field trips, try to get her to dive into her passions. That will give her tremendous self-confidence. So that's what I have for you today. This wraps up our show. It's episode 125, 3 middle school parenting tips. Be on the lookout for our next podcast episode. It's number 126. It's my interview with Jessica Yeager of Impress the Ivies. Remember to access all of our podcast episodes. Go to preppedandpolished.com/podcast. Thanks for joining us on the Prepped and Polished podcast. Now go out there and take control of your education.
You've been listening to the Prepped and Polished podcast. For more information, check out preppedandpolished.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for listening. Class dismissed.